now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. Good Thursday. Welcome in. We are loaded up today. Yeah, Bill O'Reilly making his last visit before Christmas at 12:30. Winner of last night's debate clearly was Ron DeSantis. That was the better DeSantis. The debate was better because the fewer people you have, who should be the next one to go? Now, I know the sentiment here would be, well, get Christie out of there. I think Christie could remain in the debate, and we would see what we still need to see. Who's the backup if President Trump is waylaid some way or another that we don't see at this point? Who would be the fill-in? Who would be the sub? Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis? I want to see the two of them go head-to-head. And Christie last night, I think it was kind of a hell of a nerve when it comes to blowhard stuff, but I think he was right. Vivek Ramaswamy has worn out his welcome so long ago. And if you're in talk radio, you got to be able to say it. You can't just ignore the elephant in the room. He's obnoxious last night. 855-839-12. You can't say that. Dan, I know you were encumbered with other things, but do you agree?
I agree with, I think Christie, when you always say that the person that you don't like to debate against is Christie, I think it was proven yesterday in his undressing of Vivek. I think Vivek finally got what was coming to him after debate after debate of over-talking people and being incredibly rude to the other candidates. I like a lot of what Vivek has to say, but his delivery of said subjects is absolutely terrible. And I think he finally got his comeuppance.
So Anthony Dorenzo is pro-Vivek?
Yeah.
Based on what?
I mean, come on, burn it down. Take down Haley, take down Christie, take down DeSantis. All these establishment people that I'm so sick and tired of, expose them. And he totally clearly exposed her on foreign policy and all that. I get it. It's brash. Yeah. I mean,
he's just
she had no answer for that Ukraine thing, which is crazy.
Look, I'm against, the spending and all that in Ukraine. But some of the stuff that he's saying, it's idiotic.
Well, I agree with that.
It's idiotic when he says we are going to stop Russia from partnering with China if we just stop it in Ukraine. They're going to partner with China when it's in their interest, and many times it is.
I'll agree with that. And
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't necessarily want to vote for Vivek. I'm still kind of on the RFK train.
Yeah, I know you are. Yes.
But I'm all for someone shaking up this party. And I don't care about reverent speak and someone being able to talk across the aisle.
He just comes across as such a jerk, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He does. I'll give you that. But I don't care about that stuff. But you're right. To the general voter, they all have a bad taste in their mouth from what he said.
All right. I was surprised at this today. Thank you for that.
I'm
filing that away to the next time this comes up. Here's what Christie said to him last night. And look, I realize it's Christie saying this. Here is Christie with Vivek Ramaswamy last night, calling him the most obnoxious blowhard in America. I mean, what a contest.
You know, his reasonable peace deal in Ukraine, he made it clear. Give them all the land they've already stolen. Promise Putin you'll never put Ukraine in Russia, and then trust Putin not to have a relationship with China. Let me tell you something. That's no reasonable.
That's not my deal. That's not my deal.
Yes, it's exactly what you said. You do this at every debate. You say, no, don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. Okay? You say this. You do this. You do this at every debate. You go out on the stump and you say something. All of us see it on video. We confront you on the debate stage. You say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to say what?
Exactly what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this is
now. Look,
this is nonsense. This man is spewing. This man is spewing nonsense.
Christie, applause. That's hard.
The fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
All right, 855. I thought it was a good line. Look, politics ain't beanbag. Telling Christie later on, Dan, why don't you go off and have a nice meal? It's a weight joke. It's a fat joke. But,
Christie told him to shut up, though.
Yeah.
You in favor of that? After does Vivek deserve it? Because I think if Christie said shut up to another candidate in any other circumstance, I'd be vehemently against it. But here, I kind of support it.
Yeah, well, I don't. It's fair to say shut up. They can say I'm not going to shut up back. Yeah. I thought it was a well-handled debate, though. They didn't interrupt and stop them. They let it breathe a lot. And I thought the three women that handled it last night did a good job, and they asked significant questions. All right, 855-839-1210, you get on board. Look, you can't hide forever behind, well, I'm the only one burning it down and all that stuff. Come on now. You just can't say wild stuff because it distracts from some of the good points that you're making here. Okay. Now, we know the controversy. So I think DeSantis was the winner. I think he's the clear number 2 in my mind. If somehow or another, President Trump is waylaid in a way that I can't tell legally or whatever. Nikki Haley last night was shown to be even more establishment than usual. Now, I'm sure everybody would like to have billionaires financing their campaign, but she is just a creature of this inside game. And she was kind of middle class when she was at the UN. Now, suddenly, she's worth millions, apparently. How did that happen? Boards of directors, particularly the defense industry, Boeing and others. She is an unceasing war type on steroids, big time. But Ron DeSantis, the part that I like about DeSantis, and last night, there still was some goofy moments. He does have a goofy look at times. That doesn't look natural. DeSantis is the guy that actually drills down and stops the left. That's his calling card, and he's right about that. So he stopped in Florida. He's probably going to stop it again. The AP African American Studies course. Now, Dan, last year it was only in about 60 schools. And I need some help out there. If anybody sees it here, I want to get them on and debate this. It's now in about 700 schools. The newest wrinkle is it features Colin Kaepernick, one of the most odious figures. And people, Dan, during the controversy with the NFL, were just misguided. Look, everybody cares about the veterans. Okay. It wasn't about the veterans. You know what I care more about? It was about the cops. It was always about the cops. Yeah, taking a knee, disrupting the national anthem, all those things associated with it. They are out of place in the workplace. They are disrupting the experience of others. I get that. But they're more about something else. They're about hatred of cops, the very cops that are protecting these morons who were engaging in that. So how in the world, the AP course is the creme de la creme. It's the advanced credit in your school. I don't remember having AP courses when I was at St. John Newman. Dan, did you have them wherever you are? You did. Okay. Yeah. So these are the real.
Failed them all.
Big time. You took some.
Chemistry was.
Oh, okay.
It was like organic chemistry was the worst decision of my life.
So how in the world do we need an AP class in African American studies? It's divisive on its face, just that thing. But now this one is going to have the kneeling of Kaepernick, and I'm looking at the language right from it, how that exposed police brutality. How did that expose police brutality? How did it do that? All it did was take some jerk with pigs in a blanket and all that stuff on his socks running around. A quarterback who, at least according to football experts, look, they'll put up with anything if you're really, really good. I still think Kaepernick could play in the NFL. I'm shocked that by their view, they don't see it because he has a cannon of an arm. He can run. And when he played that one year in San Francisco, they made it to the Super Bowl. But in their judgment versus dealing with him, it's not worth it. They'll put criminals out there, but they won't put Kaepernick. Is it because they don't want to hear about racism? No, in their judgment, it's the biggest commodity in the world to be an NFL quarterback. He can't even be a back. Well, I wouldn't have him as a backup because putting up with him as a backup, you got to put him out there because you want to win. And I've often thought, when Jalen Hurts was out last year, they had a competent backup. You can't go, Dan, let's just say that somehow or another, Marcus Mariota had to play the last 3 games of this year, even against the Giants and the Cardinals. I would tell you, I would take the FanDuel bet. He loses 2 out of 3. That's how, but not 3 out of 3. If he
even
won
against the Giants and the Cardinals, though?
2 out of 3, he would lose.
Oy.
I'm giving him 1. I'm trying to be balanced about it. As good as the Eagles are versus those teams, quarterback is just the position that you need competency. All right, so now we have Kaepernick. And these kids are going to be taught extensively his movement and what it meant and how it exposed police brutality. Is there going to be anything in there telling us the other side of this about the cops? So the one thing that bothered me throughout when people were citing the veterans and the national anthem and all, wake up. It's not about that. It's about the cops. The military always can use our back. I get that. But you know what? The left can only go so far against the military. You've seen it, right? The military, if you have to choose who needs your help, it's the cops. They're the ones that the left has carte blanche with. All right, so I say DeSantis won last night, and I think he won pretty clearly. Nikki Haley was boxed into where she is. She got boxed in on the issue of wanting to identify anybody that was on social media. Remember that whole thing? She said it. She wants to do it. She said her first day in office, she would try to force identification of anybody that writes anything on social media. They made a point last night that even the Federalist Papers were written anonymously. The woman is very establishment, very much interested in U.S. military intervention around the world. That's clear. That's what she's about. And there's no way the Trump base is going to turn out en masse if she happened to be the nominee. I think with DeSantis, you have a chance that most of the Trump base to beat Biden might turn out if it came to that, which I don't think it's going to. So it's 855-839-1210. We didn't forget. Today is what, the 82nd anniversary of the sneak attack at Pearl Harbor. And also, I'm not sure how long it is. I think it's, Dan, about 25 years old. One of the worst movies ever made about something significant. It's got 2.
It was so bad.
It's got at least 2. I was looking at the cast. John Voight plays FDR in it. I didn't even know that, and I've seen the film several times.
It's a cast of I like Voight, but
2 of the most obnoxious figures routinely. Alec Baldwin and Ben Affleck. Yeah. And I would say Alec Baldwin's got a lot more talent than Ben Affleck.
Josh Hartnett and Cuba Gooding are kind of annoying too.
Yeah, they are. But would you agree Alec Baldwin is a better actor than Ben Affleck?
Oh, there's no doubt.
Okay, just clarifying that. Yeah,
I mean, Alec Baldwin's at least arguably halfway decent actor. Right. Ben Affleck's just garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So they're both in it. So here's what we're looking for today. Give us a film or TV show. Call it a biopic. Call it a historical fiction, when they're taking something historical and they're playing with it a little bit that you think is really good. So, of course, I'm shocked. Serious movies don't do box office anymore. I didn't look it up, but Oppenheimer had to do $500 million. Did it do more than half? Maybe it did 700 million.
Looking it up right. 952.6 mil.
Is that worldwide?
Yeah. Barbie did 1.4 bill.
Well, yeah. You can't have everything. And Taylor Swift is on the cover of Time magazine. Imagine waking up, Taylor Swift's on the cover. I got a little bit of a conspiracy theory on that I'll have coming up on Taylor Swift. I don't engage
conspiracy theory.
I don't engage in conspiracy.
I like this. It's like right up my alley.
Yeah, this is. I am really doing anything to stop this woman. I'm just counting down. Travis Kelce, the end of the season will be near soon. That's when it happens. That's when she strikes, I think. All right, so I'm taking Oppenheimer off, and I'm taking Chernobyl off.
Yeah, both great. Well, Oppenheimer overrated.
I don't think so. And Chernobyl.
No.
And Chernobyl, HBO. I think it was particularly the second episode where the local commie leader said, we all have to do it for the party. We're going to go into the tank. We're going to cover this. How are you going to cover that up?
Yeah, it's such a
and he got them all roused. He tried
series.
to, for Mother Russia, we're going to do it. How about the guys who were minors going in to clean it naked in there?
Yeah.
They said it's customary. What? How is it
shocking? And the hospital scenes, man.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, exactly.
And sad, like disturbingly disgusting. Sadly. Yeah.
So Chernobyl and Oppenheimer. Dan, what's yours?
I'm going to take Apollo 13 off the board. I love that film.
Now, that is a perfect example. We don't know if every bit of it's accurate, but I think overall, that's tremendous. That failure's not an option is Well, we're in Philadelphia. It certainly is an option.
And a great example of one of the best actors of the past, of this generation, Tom Hanks.
I thought you were going to say Harris. I wasn't going to go there with Tom Hanks.
Or Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon's that Phil, too. Yeah, some great names in there.
And he's the pilot. Yeah,
but seriously, an underrated actor, Bill Paxton.
Yes, I would agree. Maybe Kevin Bacon will land on Broad Street again. All right, 855-839-1210. That's how you got in. That's the side question. Coming up, Joe Biden, by waving his magic White House wand, forgives $4.8 billion more today in student loans for a very specific group. But I'll just remind Dan's strategy, I think, is the way to approach this. I'll tell you what that is coming up. Get in now, though, with Bill O'Reilly at 1230, 855-839-1210.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Taylor Swift, who's become a billionaire because of many people in the United States of America, says, I will leave the United States if Donald Trump becomes president in 2024. Good. You can go. Take my daughters with you.
No.
Take Travis Kelce and get the out of here. Put your money where your mouth is. Go. Because Taylor Swift can make music anywhere.
T. Russ on the YouTube chat says it would be the best Christmas present ever if Taylor left. Please go.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The winter months are rolling in, and I'm excited to talk with you, though, about Rescue's natural supplements, Deck the Hall sale. We're talking up to a whopping 78% off on all products, including essential omega-3s, cholesterol support, natural pain relief, and much more. And get this, the savings last the entire month. And did I mention that Rescue is offering 15 special health boosting products at under $20? To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. You'll speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. You can fortify your immune system, boost energy levels, support overall well-being with Rescue selection of over 50 high-quality natural supplements. There's no code needed to save up to 78% site-wide. So stay healthy this holiday season by shopping res-q.com today.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, Dom Giordano Show. So $4.8 billion more that Joe Biden, they're sending out notice. I think it's 80,000 people. And these people, here's the double rub, though, the part that really rubs me the wrong way. They're getting it because they are public service people. See, that's why they get the benefit. Meaning they're going into government. Well, go into government. Why should we pay for that? How's that to the benefit? More people going into government. I think it benefits us less. When I think of government, that'd be an interesting side question. Who do you think of? Well, right now, I think of someone like Jim Kenney. I'm going to pay him, pay off a student loan. Come on.
Can you imagine?
Yes. But to your point the other day, and it's a good one, Republicans should center more on not attacking those getting the magical money from Washington, but the cost of big college and how far it goes. I mean, that's a win-win to use this to piggyback to going back, and suck it up. I know it's annoying. You have people that are working hard, maybe working a job and a half, 2 jobs, and they're going to pay for somebody who goes into government. these outlandish fees for college, $4.8 billion more. I know the temptation is to savage the people that are taking advantage of it. And morally, I couldn't agree more with that. But tactically, I think it's better to use that to pivot and attack big college. And we saw this week, and we're still trying to get this guy on. I don't know where he is. This Professor Ellis, who wrote this piece in the Wall Street Journal, saying the biggest threat to America, the enemy within, big college, the colleges. And I said, no, I still think it's China. It's without a doubt China, and we got to focus on that. Today on Pearl Harbor Day, New York Post, Dan, has a big article laying out that the Chinese are gearing up to attack Taiwan, and they have so many super fast missiles. They would be able to take out our military bases across that region and decimate our Navy. And then we would be forced with, are we going to up the ante here? Or what are we going to allow? I mean, I don't think either side would want to go nuclear. So if it's conventional, on the day of the surprise attack on Japan, China is biding their time to the right moment to attack not only Taiwan, but our entire military operation. And Biden's asleep at the switch. That's where if we're really going to stick by Taiwan. And I don't know, Dan, I put that up on Twitter, would you? If Taiwan were attacked, would you say, yes, the U.S. military are men and women?
This is a very long question to put on Twitter.
Okay. You could say, I'm just giving you the broad strokes. Would you, I'm trying to get the temperature.
Would you consider China a very true threat if they invaded Taiwan? Is that
no, I want to know. It's about lives. Would you be okay with putting American military full force? We're not talking nuclear, but full force. And I want to maybe like strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. I don't think we're going to get anybody that strongly disagrees, but I think you're going to have people that disagree. I don't think they want to fight for Taiwan.
So would you be okay with American military involvement in Taiwan if China were to invade the country?
That's right. Yes.
And you want strongly agree,
and disagree.
Neutral. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll get, because you can have 4 choices here.
I don't think we're going to get a ton of strongly agrees on this. It's our position. They stated again last night. So today on Pearl Harbor Day, it's clear that we're seeing this defense positioning today in New York Post, brilliant column, talking about how ready they are, how armed up they are, and why it would be very difficult for us to contend with them if they did attack, at least in that region. And if we pulled away from that in some way, shape, or form, well, you can imagine. Now, that's all the more reason why we have to get it in their head that it's not worth it to them to do it. That if they risk this, the damage to them would be so substantial. How do we do that? Well, that's the area where we have to project strength. We need to build up, and we need to have a president that they're not sure what he would do. In other words, how far the president would go. And Trump fits that bill, I think. Biden certainly does not. I think they wouldn't test a DeSantis in this.
So I'll put it up now, Don.
Yes.
I have it worded. Would you be supportive of American military involvement in Taiwan if China were to invade the country? 4 choices: strongly agree, but hesitation, neutral, or no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Let's see what happens.
How long you want it out there? A day, or want it by the end of the show?
By the end of the show. Any early returns on that?
No, it's not up there yet. It's just going up right now at Dom Show 1210. Go vote.
And I'm suggesting we're going to see a good bit of neutrals and some that would just say agree, not strongly agree. In other words, even with this, when they talk about it in these debates, I'm not sure that's where people are. So the thing Americans are saying they want done, we want to deter the Chinese from making that. We don't want to lose American lives for Taiwan is what this comes down to. Would we have to, due to agreement with them, whatever it is? That's a little bit. And with the United Nations, with NATO, I think even people are even more reluctant. 855-839-1210. Hit us on that side question today, too, which is give us that all-time historical fiction or biopic. Could be about a person, an event, a thing that, uses and then changes some things for dramatic appeal. Oppenheimer, why did it do so well? I mean, it's a very serious film. It's got a decent backstory, but it did worldwide almost $1 billion. Even today, that's pretty good stuff. All right, a little bit more from last night's debate. This is 8G. Now, several people last night said, yes, stop at the border, do what Trump did. I like what DeSantis says here. He drilled down. He said the reason we're seeing anti-Semitism and a lot of this stuff, we have people en masse emigrating to this country, and they don't share our values. Why do we want them here? We don't want an entire population of people like these people ravaging Penn in Philadelphia, Palestinian rights, genocide, river to the sea. Goldie, you can't hide. Here is what DeSantis said.
It's not just terrorism, though. That's important. But look what's happened in Europe. You have more anti-Semitism in Germany than at any time since Adolf Hitler. Why? Because they imported mass numbers of people who reject their culture. Europe is committing suicide with the mass migration, and it's illegal and legal. Nikki Haley said the other day there should be no limits on legal immigration, and that corporate CEOs should set the policy on that. There needs to be limits on immigration, and we should not be importing people from cultures that are hostile. So, for example, I said with the Gaza, you had some of the squad wanted to import 300,000 people from the Gaza Strip. I said, no, we're not taking anyone from Gaza because of the anti-Semitism and because they reject American culture. So we've got to get smart about this. We cannot let the United States be like Europe. So
All right, now that was a great point. Oh, God, every time I hear that woman, that rhythm is just, you can't hide. Yeah, why are we bringing this in? Why are we doing with this? And if the colleges don't like it and want to bring these students in for some requirement they have, they did talk last night, maybe they ought to lose funding. That's what DeSantis is saying there. No, we wouldn't bring people in from Gaza. Well, not all of them. I agree. Not all of them are want to kill Jews and all that. But we have no way of sorting them out. Why would we do that? That's exactly the problem. I mean, he was right on point. It's not just terrorists coming across the border. It's bringing in waves of people who don't share our values and are never going to do that. Ingrates that hate this country, or at least traditional America. Ilhan Omar is an example. We see it all. We have enough people that don't have gratitude to be in this country. Why would we bring in whole circles of people who have no allegiance and are never going to have that allegiance? But that was a very good point. Bottom line with Iowa, watch for, I told you yesterday, Trafalgar, our buddies, we rely on their polling. They're the best. They have DeSantis gone up a few points, maybe 4 or 5. I think when it's all said and done, Trump wins and DeSantis is within maybe 15 points or so in Iowa. Nikki Haley then is behind DeSantis. All right, the great Bill O'Reilly's next. We'll talk about his newest book, but who did he think won the debate last night? Observations around that and a bunch of other things. Phone lines, though, you can line up. 855-839-1210. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers Stay Hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Make your own bets, live betting, get those winnings paid fast, over-unders, player props. Don't have to be a football expert to do this. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dom. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT, FanDuel official partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania, first online real money wager only, $5 pregame moneyline wager required, $10 first deposit required, bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bringing in your front line is as easy as 1, 2, key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get in for their first, second, or third shifts and even travel the system on their off hours, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at septa.org/partner programs. That's septa.org/partner programs.
Odyssey's I'm Listening is our commitment to more mental health conversations. Adele talks about what she does to keep her anxiety under control.
I work out to really hone all my energy and to make sure that it's not coming out sideways. If I'm ever in a situation where I don't want to do something, then I just won't do it anymore because the repercussions of that will be my anxiety.
Talk saves lives. For more mental health conversations, visit imlistening.org.
Sponsored by the 988 Lifeline and the Philadelphia Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services.
Too many people are experiencing suicidal crisis or mental health-related distress without support. But there is hope. The 988 Lifeline helps people who are struggling to overcome mental health-related issues. It's okay to not be okay. The Philadelphia Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services is here for you. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, call 988 for support. Trained crisis counselors are standing by. That's 988.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
I don't know about Witchy Woman with Bill O'Reilly here, Dan. I had nothing to do with that. The book.
Hey, it's a reference to the book.
I know it is. Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. The one and only Bill O'Reilly back with us on Pearl Harbor Day. There's a reason for that reference. Hey, Bill, welcome back. And this day has significance. I just dawned on me. The most moving parts of your book, arguably, Killing the Rising Sun, talking about your dad on a boat headed to invade Japan.
Yeah, and we have a documentary on BillO'Reilly.com. It's not really a doc. It's called Shock and Awe. It's a series of reports that I did earlier on Pearl Harbor Day. And it's free for everybody. Just go to BillO'Reilly.com and you'll get the best view of really what happened and why it happened. But my father was on a destroyer out of San Francisco, floating across the ocean. He certainly would have been killed because he was in the first wave. The Navy backed up the invading American forces. That was the war plan. And unbeknownst to the Americans, there were 2,000 kamikaze pilots waiting for them. Kamikaze pilots are Japanese Air Force people who crashed their plane into ships. And that would have certainly taken out my father, so I wouldn't be talking to you today, Dom. And I don't know how you would have filled this time if that didn't happen. So Pearl Harbor Day changed the world. It still resonates. Unfortunately, many younger Americans have no blanking clue what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. And it's got to feel good with this whole series. The holes you fill in for those that maybe know nothing about the subject, or someone like me, tell you all the time, I think I know a lot about most of them, even Kennedy. I mean, I've been to the Dallas Book Repository, the whole deal. I've stood in the plexiglass where Oswald shot him. But some of the observations, some of the things you pull, some of the Kennedy will be dead in 48 hours. However you determine you were going to write it that way, it's chilling every time you hear that line in your books.
We have all 13 killing books bundled on BillO'Reilly.com for a Christmas gift. You either put it in your library or you can give them away for 13 separate gifts. And that's why these books are the best-selling nonfiction book series in the world, because we do provide you with this stuff you don't know, and we back everything up. So Killing the Witch is out late September. It sold 250,000 copies so far, which is an amazing situation, because now people have that dopey machine in their hand, the cell phone, and reading has gone down. But this book is a phenomenal bestseller, and the reason is that we are living through a witch hunt right now. And it every single day you see another accusation in the media against someone, and then all of a sudden that person's life is ruined without any adjudication, without any, and then if they are innocent, then the press just ignores it. It's just insane what's happening. And I wrote about it today in the message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com about this ESPN broadcaster who was fired because he said that Venus Williams, who's a tennis analyst, was using guerrilla tactics in the Australian Open, which means hit and run, you know what I'm saying? And then some idiot on the internet puts on, he called Venus Williams a gorilla, and ESPN fires the guy. And then a week later, he has a heart attack and almost dies. I mean, come on. And there's nobody combating this. There's no politician combating it. There's no law combats it. Nothing. And so I put that into Killing Witches. We start 1692, where 20 human beings are killed because some 12-year-old girl points at them and says, well, this person tried to make me sign the devil's book, and they got a noose around their neck. And now we're not killing people, but we're destroying them.
Yeah, it's
and
exactly
that's why
the same
this
thing.
book has, that's why Witches has taken off.
I was going to ask you, were people getting that? Because the insights of stuff, even if you know a lot about it, some of the particulars are amazing. And you and your historian dig these out in every single book.
Yeah, and I mean, we put you on the Mayflower, which I think one of the most valuable parts of Killing the Witches, because people think, oh, Mayflower, Pilgrims, past the stuffing. This was harrowing, this voyage. How these 100 people on the Mayflower made it over here, it was a miracle. And then when it got here, it got worse. So people should know, and if you read all 13 killing books, you'll know everything about your country. And here's an exclusive for Dom Giordano listeners. We're currently working on a book that will be out early September 24 on every president, called Confronting the Presidents, assessing whether they were good or bad for the country. So we're up to Herbert Hoover. We finished all the presidents. We're up to Hoover. I should finish the book by the end of February. This book, you talk about kick butt books. Oh boy, is this going to be something.
Can you give me a ballpark figure? How many out of those up to Hoover did you say were good for the country, approximately?
Most of them fall into that gray area that they did some good things, but they were harmful. But clearly Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and a guy, that not too many people know, a guy like Grover Cleveland, who had all kinds of social problems. He wasn't bad. I mean, but we're not boring you with all this policy. We're telling you who these people are. The opening line of Confronting the Presidents is, George Washington's mother is mad at him. Did you know that George Washington and his mother had a terrible relationship? Did you know that?
You told me. That's how I knew.
Oh, I already told you that?
Yeah, you told me. No, you said it even worse. She hated him or something like that.
Yeah, Washington didn't even go to her funeral.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you another one.
Whoa, and public figure like that, you don't go to the. Oh man, yeah.
I'll give you another one. Abraham Lincoln almost committed suicide.
Wow. Yeah.
Now I'm not going to tell you why, because I want you to get interested in the book. But these are the kinds of things that we have unearthed. And you fast forward into where we are now and all of our lives. There is a reason that we have a civil war now in this country between the progressive left and the traditional right. There is a reason for that. And this war could go either way in 24, which is why I wrote this president's book, or I'm writing it. Because if it goes the progressive way, say goodbye to your country. We cannot have 4 more years of Joe Biden. He has done so much to destroy this nation, the fabric of our society. Just the open border alone should convince everybody of that. But unfortunately, we have people who don't want to believe, or it's really before their eyes. So I'm not saying Trump is the greatest guy, or the debate last night, which I was a part of on News Nation, that these Republicans are the greatest people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the movement, the progressive movement, is going to destroy this country as we know it. I'm the Paul Revere here on this. And so, all of these books, all the killing books, they do pertain to your life today. It's not just some history lesson that doesn't have any relevance.
No, they do. They do. They are a great read, and particularly for young adults or kids, say sophomore, junior year in high school, they really, really are necessary. So, Bill, last night on the president's book, DeSantis said Calvin Coolidge was the president. I thought that was a pretty insightful thing. And DeSantis still looked a little bit awkward last night. I don't know if it was with the smile, the eyes, or whatever. I think he was the clear winner, though. And Nikki Haley, there's no way, can please a Trump base of support. What did you say last night? What did you say?
Okay, so DeSantis won the debate, but you're correct, Dom, in the sense that he doesn't look comfortable up there and he can't connect with the regular American worker. But, a lot of presidents couldn't. And certainly Biden can't. Trump is a little bit more, he has so many layers to him. It's a little bit more complicated. But the reason DeSantis won was because he tapped into the emotion of the Republican voter by using the border as an example and said, new sheriff in town, cliche, needs to get a new phrase. But if I'm elected president, I'm going to physically take care of the cartel. I'm going to attack them. We're not going to allow them to do what they do in Mexico. That was a real strong point. And DeSantis can back it up because he has been a culture warrior in Florida. Now, Haley comes across as a more conventional politician. Doesn't have the fire in the belly to, take on the progressive movement. She's a lot like Jeb Bush in 2016.
That's quite, I would add this, Bill. I've had her in studio 2 or 3 times, presents well, looks good, articulate, but thin-skinned. Any kind of criticism or pushback, difficulty.
Yeah, but Trump's like that too.
Well, that's true too. Yes.
Right. I don't mind people being overly sensitive to criticism, but the problem with Nikki Haley and why she will not be elected president, at least this cycle, is that she is too much of the same old. She's just a standard politician. Now, tonight on the No Spin News, which I know you watch, she made an enormous amount of money after she left the governorship of South Carolina. Enormous. And most of it was corporate money. And most of it was what Biden was doing. Okay? And I'm going to run it down for you very specifically.
What time is that tonight, or is that...
well, we saw it as No Spin News goes up on BillO'Reilly.com at 6, but the first TV runs it at 8. I mean, our distributors across the country, we have 100 radio stations now carrying it audio. You can get it, but you go to BillO'Reilly.com.
Yeah, here's why that's important. I marked that down in my notes last night when I saw you either tweeted or you said it, that you had your researchers. Now, the media should be doing that. That was a fair criticism, even though Vivek Ramaswamy's not on my Christmas list. It was It was a fair
it's
criticism.
Absolutely fair.
And
people need to know.
And you're saying it's a lot, and it's Biden-esque.
It's $8 million that she has amassed. Wow. Yeah. And we'll tell you exactly how she did it. And then the Megyn Kelly thing, where she went after Christie on the trans school stuff. What's the truth about that? We haven't. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you because I want everybody to watch the show, but because you are South Jersey dominant, people in New Jersey got to be reminded about what this legislation was. Now, Christie said what Kelly said was a lie. It wasn't really a lie, but the full context wasn't presented, which I will do. And that separates me from, and I know I'm bragging now, I'm sorry about that, but it separates me from all of the other people who really couldn't care less about, giving the folks the real down story. I do care about that. That's why I'm in this. I want you to know everything, the good and the bad. So anyway, at this point in history, Trump is going to get the nomination. And, Mulvaney, who was a News Nation contributor, said, oh, well, if he gets convicted of one of the court cases, then he can't win. That's not true. Okay, he could win despite any conviction. So he's not going to prison. I mean, that's not happening on any of these things. But, again, I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why we've been successful for, 30 years doing analysis, because we give you the full picture.
I'm so glad you followed up on it. That's exactly right. That's something real. $8 million with Nikki Haley, who already Trump supporters, my view, my listeners, Bill, and you're right, they're not going to support her in this cycle. There's no shot. DeSantis is the only stand-in if there's some Trump issue, which I don't see. Trump is going to be the nominee, and Biden's going to be the nominee on the other side.
I don't know about that, because I don't, the Democratic Party knows that Biden could very well lose to Trump. Their strategy is to brand Trump a Nazi, a dictator. You see that all over the place, okay? Folks aren't really going to buy that. And they know that Biden is very, very weak and getting weaker. So you're running a guy who's on the skids. And this Hunter Biden stuff, it's not going away.
I agree. Well, who do they tag in?
Well, that's a problem. If they had anybody, they were already dumped him. It's not up to him, all right? Because if the delegates at the Democratic convention in Chicago this summer don't want Biden, it doesn't matter what happens. He's not going to get enough delegates to put him over the top in the primaries, because nobody's going to vote in the Democratic primaries. There's no reason to. So anyway, I don't know about Biden being on the ticket, but if the election were held tomorrow, it was Trump against Biden, Trump, I think, would win.
I do too. Bill, congratulations on another great book, the series, The Insight, and the President's book. Perfect timing as we head toward the big election. Where do people go for all this good stuff?
BillO'Reilly.com is where we live, and we'll save you a ton of money on Christmas gifts. We have the Christmas Hanukkah store. Hanukkah begins tonight. And boy, if you go in there, you see what we have marked down and the bundles we have put out. And it's really, will save you a ton of money.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, Bill.
Same, Dom. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bill O'Reilly there today, Dan. Doesn't do any business. I might be bragging a bit here. All right. So, look, the rest of the media, I don't see them following up on it. I think that's a real point. Nikki Haley, he says his researchers, she made $8 million when she dropped out of the UN and took on all these corporate board things. And that some of them are very Biden-esque. Now, that's what I got to see the details he has on that. $8 million. So Vivek Ramaswamy was on that. Let's see. Dan, you're telling me, how about your news sounder here? This is
it worthy of it?
Yeah, I think
you
it
think
is.
So?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, all right. All right, jurors have reached a verdict in former labor leader Johnny Doc's case. Verdict expected at 1 p.m. That's a slot I had here on the Dom Giordano show open for that.
It's true, yeah. We left it just for that.
Yeah, I predict he's going to be found guilty on this one, too. Dan,
I do have a Johnny Doc's commentary about this.
Okay.
This is what he had to say about it. Oh, wait, no. You know what? He's silent. Let me wake him up. Johnny, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying that because you don't see any significance. You don't realize what a force this guy was. And I would admit, he does seem like yesterday's news here.
My thing is anyone actually going to care? Like, this is, again, proof that there is a ridiculous amount of corruption here in Philadelphia through the unions. Right. This should be headline news, don't get me wrong, but nobody's going to care and nothing's going to change. And it should. And that's what really annoys me about it.
I would make the case on the other side. Ryan Boyer, try to get him on after this, because he does seem to be different. I don't sense as much of it anymore. It's still there. It's still overwhelming. You're right. But I see it diminishing.
So what's alleged about Doc?
What's alleged here?
Yeah.
Not just taking money and spending it in any way.
Wasn't he like paying for snow removal out of the front of his house and stuff? It's just essentially taking funds that are from his union members, right?
Well, a lot of Captain Crunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have the history that I do. Over the years, we've had a friend-enemy type of thing back and forth, and he's
ever since
great
I've been
copy.
doing Philly radio, ever since I came over from Atlantic City, this guy's been known to be a corruption fiend.
Yeah, well, that's
just
Philadelphia.
yeah, here's the proof of it, I guess.
All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board here with Dom and Dan. Your calls are next. Don't forget the side question. Hit us with your answer next.
Senator Rand Paul joins me. It's amazing that we have the FBI working like this with big tech and the corporate media to suppress things like you going after Anthony Fauci over gain-of-function research and the lab leak.
Without question, Elon Musk is right. It is true. They became an arm of the government. They essentially became the censorship arm of government. My job would be a lot easier if I could find an honest progressive who remembered that they used to be big defenders of the First Amendment.
Rich Zeoli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com for more information.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. You've heard me talking about how we recently got my son Michael a sporty new Honda Civic. He loves it. From my friends at Piazza Honda, the staff's so accommodating and really made our experience seamless and streamlined. Most importantly, Piazza Honda found Michael the exact Civic model and color that he was wishing for. I highly recommend you visit your local Piazza Honda dealer in Philadelphia, Springfield, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading. You can always shop online today, piazzahonda.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Times are tough. Sometimes a paycheck just doesn't cut it. Today, more people than ever need our help. I'm Ernie Russell, Board President of the Catholic Charities Appeal of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Through the annual appeal, nearly 1 million people in our community receive help through shelters, soup kitchens, schools for special education, and so much more. Please donate today. Your gift matters.
Please donate at CatholicCharitiesAppeal.org. That's CatholicCharitiesAppeal.org.
At Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, the Child Life Services Department makes it possible for patients to experience the joys of childhood while in the hospital. With your support, the children at CHOP can enjoy books and toys, music and arts therapy, holidays and birthday celebrations, while undergoing procedures and treatment. Child Life Specialists are the people who comfort kids at CHOP when they need comforting the most. They are the patient's best friends and the parent's greatest gift. Donate now by texting CHOP to 51555. That's CHOP to 51555.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
All right, this is exactly the type of headline that you don't want. Hey, clowns, Republican Party clowns in Philadelphia. Inquirer, Dan. It's got a big headline story. Republican groups afraid that Donald Trump is the nominee. Vince Fennerty says, if Donald Trump is a candidate, the Republicans in the Southeast, it'll be a bloodbath. Hey, yo-yo, how about getting out there and working rather than just sitting around these cushy jobs? How about coming on the show, Vince? It'll be a bloodbath. Trump is the one that won. When's the last time you guys won anything? How is your mail-in ballot going? How in the world could you not put a guy like Sam Oropesa on the ballot to be an at-large candidate? You know the people he would have turned out knocking on doors in Kensington? When's the last time you've done that, Vince Fennerty? Here's why it's important. You're saying, Don, we know about Philadelphia. Here's why it's important. If you want to win, the road to winning the White House, and you just heard O'Reilly, and staving off the further demise of this country, that road goes through Philadelphia. I don't care what anyone says. Meaning, if you diminish how much Democrats win by in 2024, cheating and otherwise here in Philadelphia, you got a real good chance of winning Pennsylvania. If you don't, you're not going to win Pennsylvania. And what do we have? A bunch of people crying to the Inquirer, if Trump is the nominee, it's going to be a bloodbath for all the candidates here in the Southeast. These lazy clowns. How much more can I insult, Dan, to try to draw them out so that when you call
jokes they are? They're like idiots.
Yes.
I'm sorry. If we're talking, me and you are quasi-political strategists, right?
Well, here's the thing. Where's the National Republican Party to intervene, censure him, do whatever you can to take away his credentials, say there is no Philadelphia party chairman in Philadelphia. It doesn't exist. You're better off if it doesn't exist. That's what I would say.
It's crazy that some guy has to come from out of the city to do a door-knocking campaign because your lazy asses won't get off the couch and off the phone with the Inquirer complaining about a Republican candidate. And what I mean by political strategy here, if Trump is indeed the nominee, now you look like idiots and no one wants to vote for him because you're in the Inquirer complaining about him. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yes. So it's not just progressives we have to defeat. We have to defeat these Republicans in name. I'm not going to tire. They're not even rhinos. They're crumb catchers. There you go. That's what they are. Crumb catchers. They wait for the crumbs from the Democrat table, and then they catch them in a little napkin, gobble them up, and the rest of us are left with nothing. Vince, you're a crumb catcher. Call the show, 855-839-1210. Tell me I'm wrong. Your little fiefdom of about 4 blocks somewhere in Northeast Philadelphia. Dan's right. Scott Presler, one of the reasons he's leading our Person of the Year, almost overwhelmingly now, at Dom Show 1210, he came into town, he energized people. They had real people going to the suburbs, getting people mail-in ballots. I could just see Manny, Mo, and Jack over there at the Republican headquarters. They're mail-in ballot country. You know, let's put a billboard up. Trump will get us killed. They want Nikki Haley. That's what they're talking. Yeah, we want Nikki Haley.
Proven nothing but incompetence to me since.
My God. All right, 855-839-1210. But I blame the head of the RNC, too, and these others. What leverage do they have? Do they not get it? The road to saving the country goes through right here. I know we have problems with some of these abortion, Taylor Swift voters out there in the suburbs. I know that. But every vote that we snatch up in Philadelphia is a precious vote. Because in some states, Western Pennsylvania, parts of Pennsylvania, it's overwhelming the Trump support. But it's not enough. Yes, and you're a crumb catcher. I'm going to pray. Don't steal that one, Dan. It's a pretty good one. You know, those guys in the fancy restaurant come, they put all the crumbs off the end of the table with a little spatula, whatever.
You're a crumb creep, lush coward.
Well, and you're also a crumb catcher. All right, 855.
The greatest Philadelphia Republican of all time, huh?
Yeah, there you go. 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you do is just push pound 1210.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Did you hear? The Eagles-Seattle game is now Monday night, December 18th. We'll join Miller Lite for the Eagles watch party at the Fading Goat in Glen Older. Along with Eagles alumni, cheerleaders, swoop, a chance to win signed merch and more. Enjoy the game with $3 Miller Lite bottles and drafts. It's the Miller Lite Eagles watch party with Eagles alums, cheerleaders, and swoop. Monday, December 18th at J.D. McGillicuddy's in Havertown. Party starts at 8 p.m. Tastes like Miller time, Eagles fans. Celebrate responsibly.
Bradford White water heaters have always been built to be the best, loaded with innovative features that separate them from the rest. And now, Bradford White tank-style water heaters give you additional peace of mind with Microban antimicrobial protection. How you heat your water matters, so don't settle for anything less than the proven performance of a Bradford White, the only water heaters with Microban antimicrobial technology. Visit BradfordWhite.com to learn more and to find an installation pro near you.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. With NJ Diet, it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can shed that fat. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Locations in King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, and Newark, Delaware, or from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or visit njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
So the boys, the crumb catchers, the Philadelphia GOP, Dan, were holding their watch party of the debate at the German-American Club. This is typical, this broken down old Philadelphia type of gang. And I maintain, people think these things are going to be decided just on the bigness of Trump or you just sort of right with Biden. It's the infrastructure. In a place like Pennsylvania, this is going to be all-out war. And if in Philadelphia, Republicans do a bit better than they did in 2020, for example, and there are several things to do to make that happen, then we're going to win Pennsylvania. And if you win Pennsylvania, you're winning the presidency. How in the world, with all this money spent, don't we have vigilant people saying, you know what, we got to do something with these clowns that are here in Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Inquirer? And they're touting Nikki Haley. It'll be a bloodbath if it's not Nikki. We need a woman to clean things up after Trump and Biden, the one guy says. My God almighty. Goodness. All right. So, Dan, we have a little different view, so to speak, of the debate last night. I might tell people to not drive heavy machinery when you hear the ladies on The View.
Yeah, this is disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting and attacking News Nation, which I happen to like when I've been on there. I think they have better people, Dan, than certainly idiots on The View. But they're mocking where this debate was held last night, apparently. And I guess their writers were working overtime.
I would highly suggest if you have children to maybe turn it down when we play this clip, just because this is a little bit more explicit than we're used to playing here on the Dom Show.
And I still maintain, look, I know people just go with the chalk here, that it's Joy Behar. Sonny Hostin is so much worse than Behar. So much worse.
Oh, after this clip that we have with the disgustingness.
It's going to make my point. And one of the reasons is, look, Behar is a joke. She's a
another clip too.
Sonny Hostin, I'm a lawyer, is taken seriously by some of these people. All right, so here's a little bit of their interplay. What did they take away from last night's debate, the ladies of The View?
And I think the Democrats are doing a much better job this time of getting the vote out because, and I think a lot of Republicans, I would love to know the stats as to how many people watch that News Nation because it was on News Nation and like the CW. Exactly.
I mean, it's like my G-spot.
Wait, I have a legal note.
Harder to find, Joy.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, man.
All right.
The mental image.
Yeah, the mental image of that. Boy, the husband. God. Okay. Sonny Hostin also making a free speech argument. Now, let me, since I didn't graduate law school, but I certainly don't need to deal with this lawyer, make the point that explicitly what they're talking about with these three college presidents is they have their own rules, their own things that you can do in a college setting, not to then run counter to the value system and also the accountability on a college campus. Now, are these things constitutional? Are they legal? Well, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But certainly, you don't have a right on college campuses based upon their own bylaws, what they apparently live by, to be calling for the genocide of the Jewish people. And the simplest analogy, Dan, the simplest thing with Sonny Hostin is, what do you think would happen if people were calling for attacks on African Americans? There wouldn't be a ton of laws and a battle over this if it was that explicit. That's what's going on college campuses. Here's what Sonny Hostin told us.
Was talking about, and what this entire hearing was about, should have been about free speech. And free speech, and although many people may feel uncomfortable with it, the most hateful and heinous speech is the most protected speech. Okay?
Campuses have not been good for free speech in years.
Well, but they have been.
They canceled
Harvard actually has one of the worst records on free speech.
What you heard was them saying what is completely accurate under the law. It depends on the context.
It does
so
not.
If someone does yell at a crowd racial slurs or calls for genocide in a public place, in a crowd, that is protected speech. One-on-one confrontation, if a white student, for example, says to a black student a racial slur,
then it's hate
that is
about the codes of
Can I just
conduct.
finish
Yeah,
this
it's not
for a
talking about the
moment,
law,
please?
though.
But the codes of conduct must adhere to the law. So
But it
when
can
it's
go
when
further
it's
than
one
the law
when
to
it's
protect students.
no, it really can't go against the Constitution of the United States. So when we're talking about this one-on-one type of thing, yes, that is when that conduct leads to harassment and could be actionable by the
so
state. And that's exactly what Harvard is.
That's not what they said. All right, Dan, we got enough out of the ladies of the View. Thank you, the constitutional lawyer extraordinaire. Here's a question. 855-839-1210. Why is it this McGill, this Presidente over at Penn, Crossing Broad, DJ just sent me this, Crossing Broad dabbles in politics. I know some of them are listeners, Dan. It's a great website. I really like them. They have a piece up saying the president of the University of Pennsylvania has done something that very few people can do in Philadelphia, and that is bring people together to say this is obnoxious. This woman is in Penn. He cites Dinner on Blanc, the Cowboys, Comcast customer service, potholes, and the
Oval.
Yes, and the Philadelphia Parking Authority, which I still would say is number one, more than the Dallas Cowboys. The president of Penn, what has she done here that isn't out of the playbook? I mean, it's right to feel this way with her. Even Josh Shapiro and others. Now, Dave McCormick has said she ought to be removed. Bob Casey Jr. says no at this point. McCormick's going to be on the show tomorrow. She looked like she was in a hostage video yesterday when she read the new statement from Penn. So Sonny Hostin believes that a college just has to put up with people on the college campus calling for the extermination of people. She believes that that's the law, that there's nothing that can be done unless somebody just calls somebody a name one-on-one, and then apparently there's no freedom of speech. There's nothing that goes with that. So this idea, it depends on the context. What does that mean? I thought Stefanik, who's reputed to be a candidate for vice president, maybe for Trump, handled this very well at extracting from these three women what the problem, and what the problem is. It comes back to something that is starting to be talked about. You know, it's a little bit in the weeds, and that is all this talk on these college campuses about colonists and colonization. You even hear it when people move into a neighborhood, gentrification. That's a form of it. And Israel is bumped into the oppressor class as colonists because they're connected to the United States, even though they're surrounded by 120 million, 150 million, I forget the number of people that want to kill them. They are the bad guy. They are the oppressor. It's the whole colonized decolonization thing, which is rampant on college campuses. It is one of the biggest things that we haven't paid attention to. that is up and coming as far, and you read it the other day. Ro even told me kudos when you had some of the stuff that is in the curricula there. This is their point of emphasis. This is where they've gone. So, of course, these people buy into it. They see Israel as the oppressor, even though they were attacked savagely on October 7th. That's where we've gone with this. All right, we're waiting to hear this verdict. We'll let you know in the case of John Doherty. Phone lines are 855-839-1210. Side question today. Today, Pearl Harbor Day. Hit us with that all-time, you can call it a biopic, you can call it historical fiction, where they take a real event, person, thing, and Hollywood changes it for drama a bit, but doesn't distort what is the reality of the story. And sometimes that's hard to do. I said Oppenheimer. We had a couple of good ones. How about on Twitter, Dan? Anybody? Chernobyl was my other one.
Some great answers on Twitter. Patton.
Yes.
Pumping Iron featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I think that's almost a true documentary.
Invincible, inspired by Vince Papali.
Yes, I'd say that's accurate. I think that qualifies. Yes.
And kind of similar. It's a little fictionalized, though. Similar to Catch Me If You Can, the Frank Abagnale story, where he was the pilot and running from the... Yeah, that allegedly the con man himself made up a lot of that story as well.
I don't know about Invincible, though. I think it was based upon...
I mean, Invincible is a great story. I think the whole Mark Wahlberg, aspect of it, there was some... Maybe not.
Okay.
Schindler's List also. I think that's among the...
Yes. I would have said that could be a potential winning
answer.
answer.
That's a winner.
Yeah. So 855-839-1210. So here we have these local Republicans. What the RNC, and I asked Scott Presler this, Dan, about the Trump people. They said they're aware of him. Everybody's aware, but they're not doing anything. Give guys like this the money, the resources. Now, you may want to vet him more. I haven't vetted him. I'm just going on my own radar detector and turn them loose in places like Philadelphia on the mail-in ballot issue. Because the guy that heads up the state Republican Party is another coward who won't come on, and I think is ineffectual at best. He's not going to get it done on the mail-in balloting. And if we don't get it done, we're going to lose Pennsylvania, and you're going to lose the presidency. This is not something where you can pipe dream it and say that Trump is just going to overcome all that stuff. It has to be the infrastructure is the critical thing to win this. You're not just going to win it magically. If we look up and we have a sense before Election Day that they're ahead like 500,000 votes here, that they banked that in Pennsylvania, it's going to be very difficult on Election Day to turn enough up to win. We've been through this so many times before. And I read these comments by these Republicans. All I can do is call them out at this point, call out the RNC, the Trump campaign too, and others. Trump is going to get the nomination. There ought to be a pivot now. You know what bothers me? I'm reading a lot. He's got the Heritage Foundation and all that. What they're engaged in, Dan, is setting up the Trump office holders. All these people they'll bring in so they don't make the mistakes of the first time around, the deep state, take them out and all. That's all fine. But we got to win the election first. So the first order of business, I think, is to work right now on the mail-in ballot operation. And that means Trump ought to, on Hannity or wherever he wants to go, talk in detail about mail-in balloting, tell his people to do it, say he wants more resources put into that. He's calling the RNC, donors, et cetera, to go all out to set this up, even if he wants to say, I want to beat the Democrats, which is going to be very difficult in mail-in balloting. What is so hard to understand about this? It's not just about the juice and rallies and people are excited. They are going to win even with Biden if there's not a better job done on what is right in front of us. It's pretty simple, and yet it's doable. This isn't something where it's a shot in the dark. It works. And it's not just Scott Presler. It's Citizens Alliance. We're going to have them on near future. They are going to knock on a tremendous number of doors, Republican doors, with the mail-in ballot. So all these people get it, except for the people in charge. And the Republican Party in Philadelphia has to be dealt with. Now, I don't know legally what you could do to them, what the Republican Party nationally can do with them.
Can we lead a coup?
Excuse me?
Can we lead a coup?
Yes.
Now, how does their local Republican Party continue to run counter to the interests of conservatives? It makes no sense.
Yeah. Allegiances were mostly split between Haley and, let's see, who else? Between Haley and Trump. Okay. And saying it would be a bloodbath if Trump is the winner. All right. That's what they're looking at. And the Inquirer can't get enough of this stuff. Oh, yes. Tell us more. Tell us more to depress the vote, to stop Trump. All right. Phone lines are 855-839-1210. You can get on board AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210. We got another great Dom's Money Melody in the 2 o'clock hour today. Jump on board. Your take from last night's debate. Clear win for DeSantis. Nikki Haley shown in even a worse light. By the way, DeSantis also made a great point when talking about gender, pushing back, Dan. This is cut 8F. Here's DeSantis. Christie, for a smart guy, good on his feet. I'm not sure how he got off on such a path. We've said this before. No, Chris Christie. Parents don't have a right to say, well, we as parents want the child to have puberty blockers and surgeries. Several people made the point we don't allow parents to endorse behavior that is child abuse. Here's how DeSantis put it.
I have stood up each and every time.
So I think if this is one issue that's disqualifying, it's this one.
I stood up every single time for parents to be able to make the decisions for their minor children.
But parents...
Every single time, parents should make those decisions. And by the way, you know what? Every once in a while, parents are going to make decisions that we disagree with. But the minute you start to take those rights away from parents, you don't know that slippery slope, what rights are going to be taken away next, and what's going to be focused on.
As a parent, you do not have the right to abuse your kids. This is cutting off their genitals. This is mutilating these minors. These are irreversible procedures. And this is something that other countries in Europe, like Sweden, once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down. I signed legislation in Florida banning the mutilation of minors because it is wrong. We cannot allow this to happen in this country. And I know Chris disagrees with me, and I think he has an honest position. Nikki disagrees with me. She opposes the bill that we did to ban that. She said law shouldn't get involved with it. You said the law shouldn't get involved with it. She also, though, I think, and this flows from what she did as governor of South Carolina, they had a bill to try to say that men shouldn't go into girls' bathrooms. And she killed that bill, and she bragged that she killed that bill. Even to this day, she bragged that. I don't think men should be going into little girls' bathrooms. I think it's wrong, and I think we have every right to protect them from that.
Well, the pivot there was a little bit much on Nikki Haley. I can't picture her vetoing that bill, but she does seem to be more on the Christie approach. No, parents can't say their kids can be smoking cigarettes. I'm the parent. They can do whatever I want. That's a false sense of parental rights. And DeSantis was exactly on point. All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. Dan, we have an update. I asked the question because I'm not sure with listeners. Last night, a lot of talk China, Taiwan. They said, of course, we would send American military. We'd have all kinds of American military. How did the poll go, Dan?
Yes, the question is, would you be supportive of American military involvement in Taiwan if China were to invade the country?
Right.
Strongly agree, Dom, 8.5%.
8.5.
8.5.
I was right.
You were right on. Agree, but with hesitation, 33.9%. Neutral, 20.3%. And no, 37%.
Wow.
Yeah, just outright no.
So here's the thing. With all the people in the universe, Dan, out there thinking this is a layup when they ask it in debates, we have 37%, right, who strongly disagree, and 20% who disagree, and only 8.5% who strongly agree. I'd love to hear from the people who strongly disagree. So our posture would be then to let China overrun Taiwan. Now, this is one that people have to know, Dan. You could say, well, what consequence is it to us? In the big picture, you know exactly what the consequence would be. But the others, from what I can tell with the microprocessors and Taiwan, it is amazing how they lead the world. It would be severe, severe damage just on that alone. Wow. I thought it would be close, but that's astounding. 37% strongly disagree. There is a real appetite not to get involved, and I get that. But the only way I could be on the side of saying, strongly disagree, we have to do more than to deter China from daring to do that. Because if they do, and we don't do anything in that situation, what do you think they're going to do? In other words, I'm saying this is not Ukraine. This is not the same thing.
Kevin writes in, the only place our military needs to be is the whole southern border.
All right. We know about the border, okay? But you see no consequence to this. Now, I get the downsides, which is simply loss of American life here would be enormous. 855-839-1210.
John Cross, a contributing editor at Astro Magazine, writes, if involvement means arming Taiwan to the teeth, then yes, they can pay for the weapons, unlike Ukraine.
Yeah, but our commitment is American military. We're not going to allow China to do it.
Like boots on the ground.
Yes, that has a story, even though they dance around it, haven't said it that way for a lot of different reasons. I hope China doesn't get a copy of this. I don't want to be responsible. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. What propels that notion? I get it. These unending wars, the stuff that we've been in. Trump tapped into that way back in 2016, well ahead of the curve. So are people saying, yeah, Dom, Taiwan equals Ukraine? No involvement. 855-839-1210.
Christmas in Cape May is even better with Rich Zioli.
It will be a Christmas miracle when you join the Zioli Show live in Cape May on December 15th.
Ho, ho, ho! Are you ready? Join Rich Zioli live from the Grand Hotel in Cape May next Friday, December 15th. The Grand Hotel is at 1045 Beach Ave in Cape May. Friday, December 15th on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the Odyssey app.
Are you concerned about your child struggling in school? Do they need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2 to 1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social, and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
Hi, Dawn Stensland. It's time to sip a limoncello from your hotel balcony as you savor the sunset beyond the Isle of Capri. That's right, the Amalfi Coast. Join me next spring as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with my friends from Conservative Tours, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii, and enough time to see the great sights in ancient Rome, too. Wineries, tasting sessions. Oh, I can't wait. The group dining events we are known for are legendary. 5267. That includes your airfare nonstop, and that's while supplies last. I can smell the lemon groves outside my hotel window in Sorrento. Call toll free 888-733-9494, 888-733-9494, or go to conservativetours.com. See why so many Italians take their vacations here. Picturesque Puglia, unspoiled and authentically Italian. I'll see you in Albarello. Conservativetours.com. Tell Dawn sent you.
The violin, the trumpet, the drums. Quality instruments, but when playing on their own without orchestration, sound chaotic. Only when the maestro blends those instruments with a musical score do they become a symphony that outperforms any of those instruments on their own. The exclusive crash-proof retirement system blends safe financial instruments with your goals as the score to create full orchestration that plays the melody you've always dreamed of in retirement.
I have a stable rhythm going on in my life right now. The crash-proof retirement system. I play my guitar with rhythm. I play drums also. Rhythm is very important to me. We're all trying to do our theme song for our life. I would say the crash-proof retirement system has been instrumental in helping me find that song of my life.
Register for our next event at the Falls at the Doubletree on December 13th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
A row home fire in Mayfair sends 7 people to the hospital, including 2 cops and a firefighter. United Nations is warning there is no safe place for Palestinians in Gaza. Israeli strikes at the southern edge in one of the last places civilians look to for refuge. Joel Embiid scored 50 points in last night's Sixers win at the Wizards, 131-126.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
All right, Dan, now you need your news sounder. Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in. 855-839-1210. You get on board. So the jury has convicted Johnny Doc on the major charge of conspiracy in the embezzlement trial, okay? There are 70 remaining charges of embezzlement, falsifying,
70?
Yes, union financial reports, wire fraud, and tax fraud. The verdict on the first charge delivers the ex-union chief guilty on a second federal felony conviction in as many years. But these others, they all add up. I don't know how many years they would be in jail. But do they signal, or to Dan's point, are we still in the throes of corrupt unions who dominate in Philadelphia? Is this a sign, at least in this case, that the era of blatant union nonsense is over? That's a hard question. But it is the end of an era of one of the most colorful figures I had to debate over the years. And I don't know if he was ever a fan of the rat. All right. So Dan, I thought this Twitter question, last night, these